going to be talking about congruent figures. The definition of congruent figures is that if two figures are congruent, then all of their corresponding parts are congruent. Let's duplicate Scooby-Doo so we have two Scooby-Doos that are congruent to each other.
Rhea, there's two of me!
Yes, that's right, Scooby. There are two of you, and all of your corresponding parts are congruent. So if you take a look at Scooby's right paw, it's going to be congruent to the corresponding part in the other Scooby, the right paw up here. And if you take a look at Scooby's tail, that tail is going to be congruent to the corresponding tail in the other Scooby. We need to be careful when we use the word corresponding, because in this scenario, for example, we know that angle 1 corresponds to angle 2, and it does have a similar meaning. In both situations, they mean in the same position. But in this scenario, you can be talking about corresponding parts and not be talking about two lines that are cut by a transversal. So in this image, you're looking at two congruent triangles. If I move one of the triangles, the other triangle stays perfectly congruent to the first triangle. We could show their corresponding parts are congruent by picking any two sides and measuring them. So if I measure the length of AB, I get a distance of 10.34 centimeters, and if I measure the length of DE, I'm also going to get a measurement of 10.34 centimeters. If I were to measure any angle, let's say angle C, I'm going to get 102.6 degrees, and if I measure this angle over here, angle F, I get a measure of 102.6 degrees as well. So this fits the definition of congruent figures, which basically states that, if you've got two congruent figures, the parts from one figure are going to be congruent to the corresponding parts in the other figure.